Hello and welcome to another episode of the Feather on Football podcast with me, Luke Feather. This week I'm joined by Sheffield United fan James Owen. James, how's it going?
Hey up, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
That's all right. The Premier League's starting again in about 9 days. First fixture on the 12th of September. So I thought this week we could just go through some predictions. Obviously, a lot of things will change with the transfer window, but how we see things right now, we can predict various things about the Premier League this season.
Sound, yeah.
So I think the best place to start is at the top. So if we just run through the top six, and then maybe a few outside contenders for the top six as well.
Yeah, right. So I've watched a few some like this, and they always seem to get it wrong. So I'm not planning on getting many right.
As long as I get one or two dead on, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, I always think I'll say the top six that I've predicted, and then like an extra couple just to cover my back.
Yeah. Well, I've written a top 11 to be honest. But so who's going to win the league?
It was tough, but I went for Liverpool.
Okay.
Because I'll explain. Basically, I was thinking City. I was thinking City for like pretty much the whole of like since like the end of last season and like a few days ago. But I don't know, I think that a lot of people are saying that Liverpool aren't doing enough business and stuff. I know they're signing Thiago and that. But I don't know, I just feel like they're just calm and like ready to go again. And I feel like I don't think that City will sign Messi. They might sign Koulibaly, which will be a quality signing, but I don't know. When I think about how Liverpool played last year, I think it's between them two and possibly Chelsea, but I just think Liverpool were quality, and I think they'll do it again probably.
I've put City, but I think one thing that will go for Liverpool is the fact that they won the league with no fans in the stadium, and obviously the first league title in 30 years. So I think Klopp will be drilling that into his players now, saying, "Okay, yeah, we won the league, but we want to celebrate it with the fans like properly." But that being said, I think City have done some brilliant business so far. I think that Ferran Torres, I think he looks really bright.
Is that winger?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks good.
He looks decent. They got him for a decent price as well, about 25 million, I think. Ake was a good signing. But the thing about Ake is I don't think he'll go straight into the first team just because he's left-footed. And I think he's more cover for Laporte because they struggled so much when he was injured.
Yeah.
But like you say, if they get Koulibaly, who's probably the closest defender to Van Dijk at the minute, I think having Van Dijk at Liverpool and Koulibaly at City is going to make it just brilliant for the title race, really. I've gone for City because of their recruitment, and there's always been it's becoming a bit more of an outside chance. But I think if they get Messi, then I think it's done.
Yeah, to be fair, I feel like if they get Messi, they will win the league. I think that City probably have one of the best squads in Europe, in the world. The squad depth is unreal. Like, if you look at the wingers that they have and everything, it's unreal. But I just feel like I think Klopp's a better manager than Guardiola, and I feel like they've got more like passion and willing to run and just stuff that wins like close games. Like if you're not played so well one day, I feel like Liverpool will edge it, can win a game off.
I think the main difference between Liverpool and City is in the midfield, where Man City's midfield will outplay you. They'll pass you off the park, but they won't outwork Liverpool.
So
we've got Fabinho, Henderson, who's becoming a great captain. I was going to say Wijnaldum, but he looks like he's off to Barcelona. But then if you get someone like Thiago there, or Naby Keita or Oxlade-Chamberlain, these are all people that will do the hard work. So moving on, I'm guessing you've put Man City in second.
Yeah, I've got City second, yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to third to fifth because I think this is a really difficult section to get exactly right. So who've you gone for third?
Well, to be fair, I thought third pretty much nailed on Chelsea. I thought that Chelsea might even finish second, to be fair. Like the recruitment's been unreal. It's just whether it like forms as a team and they all work well together, really.
That's the thing, like if you think about who they've signed, they've got Werner, Ziyech, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, and looking like Havertz. These are five players that are all probably going to go straight into the first 11.
Yeah.
Especially now there's an international break and the players are away. Like it's not an ideal time to have an international break, to be honest.
No.
But all these players going into the same first 11, it's about how well they can like quickly blend and get the fitness right. And I think it'll be a bit of a slow start for Chelsea, to be honest. But
Yeah, to be fair, like short pre-season fairly. Like they've not had much time. It's definitely not a full pre-season like every other year.
yeah,
But then if you think about the players, like even Pulisic, like how good was he at the end of last year?
exactly.
Like him playing alongside Ziyech and Havertz, all them, Werner, that's an unreal attack. And then like Thiago Silva, that's a bit of experience that Chelsea needed at the back as well. Like
He was just what Chelsea needed because
yeah,
I look at Zuma, Christensen, Rudiger, Tomori. I see them all as second centre backs. They needed a leader to come in and say, right, you do that, just sort of organise everyone. To be honest, I don't think Christensen or Rudiger are up to it anymore. I don't think either of them are good enough. I keep Zuma and Tomori, but I think the other two, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But I think Zuma and Silva could be a really good partnership next year.
Yeah, I agree, to be fair.
And, well, there's a big question mark over Kepa as well, if they can get a new keeper in.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, obviously, as a Sheffield fan, I know what Dean Henderson's like, and I think he'd have been perfect for Chelsea, but obviously he wants to play for Man U, so that wasn't an option. But yeah, if they would sign someone else, a keeper is what they need, really.
Yeah, apparently they're looking at, I don't really know a lot about him, it's called Edouard Mendy from the French league. I think he's at Nice or something like that.
I've not heard that, but
I haven't really heard a lot about him, but I just know that I think he's 28, he's from Senegal. He was playing in like the second division like 2 years ago. So
yeah.
Bit of a risky one, but
obviously good. He's obviously got scouts out there, so
yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
So who have you gone for fourth?
I've gone for Man United.
Yep, same.
They ended last season right well. Bruno Fernandes is quality.
Said that through your gritty teeth.
Yeah, you know it's how I don't like saying this. Yeah, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood. They're all
Beak
good
now as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's a bit of depth they needed. Like if they were bringing on Pereira last year, exactly. Now instead of that they've got a good centre mid with like Champions League.
Yeah, I've said this on. I think when I did the podcast with Tommy, I was talking about this as well. Like Man United's first 11 is really good, but what do you do when Martial gets injured? What do you do when Bruno gets injured?
Yeah.
Or Maguire or whoever. I still think they need a centre back or two because I think Lindelof's good enough.
Definitely. To be fair,
sorry, go on.
To be fair, I don't think Maguire is actually as good as people make him out to be. Like he's good. He's good for a level. If you're happy with settling for top 6, in my opinion, like he's good for that level. And then after that, like I just don't think that he's got the quality, like in terms of reading the game, and like he is a good player. But
I think there's two things about Maguire. I don't think he's as good as Man United fans think he is. But I don't think he's as bad as rival fans think he is.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Like I think it's the £80 million price tag that always gets brought up because he was £5 million more than Van Dijk, who's the best centre back in the world.
Yeah, I mean that to me, like Maguire and Van Dijk are incomparable, but their price tag is so close to each other. It's just it don't make sense. But to be fair, money in football now don't really mean it, does it?
And he's English as well, so there's always the English premium. So who have you got in fifth?
I've gone for Tottenham.
Oh, okay.
Right. I think that they've signed 2 really good players in Doherty and Højbjerg.
Yeah.
And I like the way that Mourinho is like going about it, because previously, like I think what's been wrong with Tottenham is the players are too. Some of them think they're too big for the club. Some of them are using it as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like obviously Eriksen wanted to leave. Like a lot of players will have that in their mind, like that Tottenham's kind of never going to win out. So if a bigger club comes in, they'll leave. And I feel like Højbjerg has been good for the last few years. They needed a centre mid, and he will want to play for Tottenham, and Mourinho's getting players that haven't already won stuff and haven't already been there and done it, so that they want it more and they want to win with Tottenham, not using it as a stepping stone. And I think Doherty's quality as well, because he's been quality at Wolves.
Thing is, with Højbjerg especially, he's got Champions League experience. Like I think people seem to forget that because he was at Bayern, weren't he?
Fair, yeah.
So he's probably got a league title or two if he was at Bayern. In fact, he will do because they're the only team that ever wins it. But I think he's a proper typical Jose Mourinho player, Højbjerg. I think he'll do really well for him. And they got him for like £15 million as well. I'm surprised. Southampton let their captain and like one of their best players go for 15 million.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's a really good, like he's one of them players that goes under the radar because he's like in a fairly like not a fairly like mid-table team, and it's just like one of them players that just gets a solid 8 out of 10 every week.
Yeah.
So he goes under radar, but yeah, I think that's a good signing. And Doherty, I've rated for years. Like he runs that wing on for Wolves last year, quality.
I think the only thing that I would say about Doherty is a slight change of system, because obviously he's been playing as sort of a wing back in like a back five, and Mourinho I assume will want to play what he usually does, which is 4-2-3-1. So it'll be in a back four, but I'm sure.
To be fair, like Sheffield played 5 at back, but I've seen Baldock playing a 4 at back. It's just it's just a bit of different role. Like it's not like he suddenly forgets how to play there, because let's be honest, if you're coming through academies and stuff, you're not going to be playing right wing back, are you? He'll probably have been a right back, then made into a right wing back.
I think modern fullbacks nowadays are pretty much wing backs anyway, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, so I've actually gone for Arsenal in 5th.
Fair, yeah.
I think they've recruited fairly well. I think I've said about Willian. I'm not sure that was a good signing, to be honest. I know he's been there and done it at Chelsea and he's won pretty much everything. But at the end of the day, he's 32, 33, something like that, and they've given him a 3-year deal and they've boosted his wages from when he was at Chelsea as well.
Was it on a free that they got him?
It was on a free, because his contract ran out.
See, that's the thing. Like with Willian, like it's a free, really. I mean, I know they're paying loads on wages, but for Arsenal, it's not that much to get an experienced player that's scored. What did he score? 12 goals, something like that for Chelsea last year.
In all comps, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do understand what you're saying. As in, like he's getting on. It'll only be like a 1 season, 2 season option for
3 years.
Well, yeah,
3-year deal. So,
true, but I mean, in terms of what they shouldn't. Well, you don't really want a 36-year-old Willian.
No.
Well, anyway, but yeah, like
I don't think he'll start anyway.
I think it is a good option off the bench, though. To be fair, like I always think that he's given hard press sometimes. Scott, he is a good player. Like he scored free kicks last year, like great goals, and then
I know, yeah, but
obviously sometimes he'll just do stupid things with the ball. I get that, but
so, yeah,
he clearly has quality.
It's just his consistency for me. Like some games, Spurs away last year, especially for me, like he just ran the show completely. Scored 2 goals, and then another game it'll just be slow and it'll just, I don't know, it'll just run and I'll just make a wrong run or something and just carry the ball for too long and it'll be so frustrating. But
that centre mid that they've signed, what's he called, like Magomez or something?
Oh, it's a centre back. Gabriel.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a CDM. Is he centre back?
Yeah, centre back. I think him and Saliba. I think him and Saliba have the potential to be a good partnership, but I don't think they'll play together straight away.
Yeah, I've heard some Arsenal fans talking about it, and they're saying that they don't think he'll go straight into the team. Like
I think Gabriel will, but I don't think Saliba will.
Fair.
I think it'll be Luis and Gabriel to start off with.
Yeah.
Which for me is still baffling because I don't see a player in David Luiz, but obviously Arteta does. So yeah.
I've gone for Arsenal 6th.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So we've basically gone for this same top 6 apart from.
We've both got the traditional top 6.
Yeah. To be fair, like I really didn't want to do that. Like I was thinking for ages about putting Arsenal 6th, and I was actually going to put Everton.
I've got Everton 7th.
Yeah, because I was proper tempted to put them in because of how they've recruited. That midfield is like, if they sign, have you seen they've been linked with Decore
Yeah, Decore, Rodriguez, and
and
Allen.
Allen from Napoli? Yeah,
Yeah,
that midfield's got everything.
that's a good. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like if they sign Decore and Allen, which it looks like they will sign Allen. Uh, Decore is just a powerhouse. It reminds me a bit like Yaya Toure.
yeah,
Good on ball, got a bit of everything. Allen, I've not watched him much, but from what I gather, he's a bit of a he's a good tackler and very good
yeah.
passer. And then Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, I
everyone
think
knows.
Rodriguez is massive because it's a statement. He is.
Yeah, yeah,
I know he's not quite fulfilled his potential, but he is a superstar. Like he's a global
yeah.
star.
Other players will see that signing
And think, oh,
Everton then.
and yeah, yeah.
Ancelotti.
Same, yeah. Angelotti was a statement as well because he's won 3 Champions Leagues and
Yeah,
he's won bags and bags of trophies, like one of the best managers in the world, and he's at Everton.
yeah.
It was just a bit of a weird one for me, but fair play.
Yeah, go on.
So I was just going to say, we haven't mentioned in the top 7 2 teams that both finished in the top
I
7.
know. I was literally just about to say that.
Leicester and Wolves.
Yeah.
What do you make to that then?
I mean, like, I did think about Leicester. Like, I feel like it's one of them where at the end of the next season we'll look back on it and we could look stupid for not putting them in. Like they could well ease. Well, I feel like Leicester more than Wolves probably will have a better chance of finishing in the top 6.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, what did they finish? Like 5th.
Leicester finished 5th. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
basically.
yeah, like literally. That they didn't do much wrong. I mean, Vardy finished Golden Boot for God's sake. Like, if it's anyone's, like, yeah, if we're being asked to anyone here, it's probably Leicester. Like,
yeah, the thing about Leicester is for me, I feel as if they got found out a little bit towards the end of last season because the wheels just completely fell off. Like they were 3rd all year, and then to finish 5th, I think. I mean, if you asked a Leicester fan at the beginning of the year, they'd take 5th any day. But when you've been 3rd all year, and then you finish 5th, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But
I mean, it doesn't look. Yeah.
I was going to say one thing I've always heard about Brendan Rodgers from players that have played for him, is he's a great manager when things are going well, but as soon as things start to turn, he hasn't really got a plan B. And I think that's what we'll find with Leicester next year. That's why I've got him in 8th.
So. Yeah, I would put him. I would put him in 8th. I'd put Everton 7th, Leicester in 8th. Purely, I'd put them above Wolves purely because they've still got. It don't look like they're going to lose Maddison or Vardy, or they've still got them players that have took them to 3rd last year, and obviously Maddison was injured after lockdown, wasn't he as well? Yeah. So that he's a big player for him. Like you can't forget that.
And another thing is, I don't think Wolves have recruited particularly well.
No, I was going to say like they've sold Doherty.
He was a key player for them.
Yeah, and they've not. I mean, I don't think they've signed anyone to replace him, have they?
I think the rumour was that they wanted Maitland-Niles for Arsenal, but then
and he said that he wants to stay, hasn't
he? Yeah, but I think they were only offering like 15 to 20 million or something like that for a young player who's still in the first team at Arsenal.
Yeah, and how much did Doherty join Spurs? 12 mil or something? 15
mil, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think that's a bit. Well, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it seems a bit of a silly deal, to be honest.
Yeah, but so we'll talk about your team as well, Sheffield United, because whether I like it or not, they were one of the surprise packages of the Premier League last season. I've got them in 10th. Where do you think?
I'd put us in 9th, but the thing is. I'm not even just saying this either. I genuinely think that we could finish wherever I don't know how to say it, like wherever we want to, basically. Like if we start no, but I mean like basically Wilder is a god and he knows how to get the players. He knows how to get the players performing at the maximum. Because if our players weren't performing at maximum, we'd have been relegated.
Thing is,
in order for us to even stay in the league, the players have to be performing at the maximum, the very maximum they can. And Wilder hasn't performing at their maximum, like their absolute maximum, and that's where we finished last year.
But do you think you've improved in terms of your squad?
I mean, we've not lost any of our best players. I mean, Dean Henderson was never ours. I'm happy that we signed Ramsdale massively, because I feel like if we sign Dean Henderson, it's a good signing for this year. I mean, it cost us a lot in wages because he just signed a new contract for like 110k a week or whatever it is, which we'd have to pay a lot of, which is probably why it didn't happen. And if we sign Henderson this year again, it's always going to be the question of, what's going to happen next year when they don't have that keeper? What's going to happen when he goes back? And then obviously you won't be able to play against Man United, which is 6 points in the league. Like, realistically, the aim is we have to stay up again. That's the aim.
Yeah.
And 6 points in a relegation battle, if that's what it comes to, is a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a backup keeper 2 games a season, obviously it could happen anyway because of injuries. But if you already know it's going to happen at the start of the season, then that's 6 points.
I think Ramsdale's a good signing. I think it's a clever bit of business because you sold him to Bournemouth, so you got your own sell-on clause basically. Yeah. So
the reported fee will not be what's paid because we had a sell-on clause, and they owed us money for Brooks as well, which they haven't paid yet. So we'll have just written that off, and it would have just come down. So
yeah, true.
Works for both parties.
So where have you got Wolves then? Because you haven't mentioned them yet, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure the thing is, I didn't do the top 11 like you, but I'm pretty sure I had Arsenal, then Leicester. No, Arsenal, then Everton, then Leicester. Oh yeah, see, I'd put Leicester then Wolves, so I guess Sheffield were 10th, but
there you go.
I don't know. See, the thing is about we could easily be 9th for me, or maybe even 8th, maybe even 1st.
Or 15th, I'm not gonna lie.
Look, I'd probably take 15th, to be fair. Like,
yeah, keeps you in the league.
Second season syndrome. It's a thing.
Exactly. So just quickly run through your top 6 again.
Liverpool 1st, City 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, Man United 4th, Tottenham 5th, and Arsenal 6th.
I've got Man City 1st, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham. So we'll go to the other end of the table now. For the who's going to get relegated, and I actually found this fairly difficult, to be honest.
Yeah. To be fair,
I feel as if we'll match up on at least one of these, maybe even 2 or 3. But who do you think is going to finish bottom, or have you not put an order? Have you just said 3 teams?
I just shut my window, but I've put an order.
Okay.
I have put an order, and I don't think you're going to agree with me, to be honest. But I think Villa will finish bottom.
I don't agree with you. I don't think they'll get down.
I knew you wouldn't, but I just think
against Villa because they keep.
Right, no. Let me explain. Right, it's not just because they're trying to sign all the players that we are. No, to be fair, like I just think that they don't have a proper plan. I think Dean Smith is not a good manager. I don't think that their team is a good team. I don't think that Grealish can even hold them up. Like he can't carry them. Like he still does depend on the other players, and they're not good enough. So at the end of the day,
I think they're not far off a decent Premier League team, to be honest. I think they need a striker. I think I was talking to my mate who's a Villa fan, and he said, in his opinion, the only difference between Villa and Southampton is Danny Ings. Because striker.
They've got Grealish, and where's he?
But don't score goals.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, right? Villa have been linked. Their scouting is lazy. Everyone that they've been linked with, right? It's like Football Manager. What do? Who scored the most goals in Championship? Watkins, right? We'll get linked with him. Who won Player of the Season for the team won or whatever? We get linked with him. Who's Gush gone down? Callum Wilson, right? We get linked with him. We'll go for him. We'll put in an offer for him. Oh, Chef, you want John Swift? Let's go for him. It literally is though. Like I just feel like they don't have a proper plan. Like they're just going for the supposedly good players and not players that will fit their system. And I just think,
in terms of a striker, they just need a goal scorer because they don't have one. I think Callum Wilson would be a great signing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Callum Wilson would be a decent signing, but I'm just saying that they're being lazy about it, and it could easily turn the other way. Like, I feel like if they could buy all these players, but you can't forget that Callum Wilson was part of a Bournemouth team that went down. So if he signs for Villa, it's not like instantly, we've got a goal scorer, we're going to stay up.
But so was Nathan Ake, and Man City just spent 40 million quid on him.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a question that you've got to ask City, isn't it?
Fair enough.
I could also look stupid with this one, but it's partly because I don't like Villa, and partly because I don't think that
it's 99% because you don't like Villa.
Well, no, mainly because I don't like Tyrone Mings. How he's got in the England squad is beyond me. Oh, there's at least 8 English centre halves that are better than him.
Say Jack O'Connell, I dare you.
I'm not. I won't say it, but everyone's thinking it.
No one's thinking it, mate.
Everyone's thinking it. I mean, how he got in ahead of Cody at the start, that's a joke. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that is a joke.
I've gone for West Brom. Fairly predictable.
At the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom. I don't think they've recruited. I think they're getting that Diane Garner, to be fair, from West Ham.
To be fair, I've said that West Brom will stay up.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know. I just think it'll be a bit too much for him.
I think that they've got that Romain Sawyers, haven't they? I've watched him.
Yeah, not Premier quality.
I mean, I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it in Prem.
Really?
I think he's a good player.
I remember going to Walsall away with Town, and Romain. Me and my dad were saying to each other then, he's a player, Romain Sawyers, but I think he's a championship player. That's the thing, because we were in League One at the time, and he just looked so much better than everyone else.
It could be. I think the reason why I've put them to stay up is more because of the reasons of the other teams to go down rather than anyone else.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got in 19th.
I've got Fulham.
I've got Fulham, but it's one of them where I might regret that one because I think Scotty Parker's a good manager.
Yeah, he's decent, but I think that there's just most of the signings they've made already have just been making loan signings from last season permanent, and they finished 5th in the Championship.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, it's not. I mean, they've got Mitrovic. He'll score him goals. He's a good player. Yeah. They've signed out Harrison Reed for like 6 mil, which is all right.
I think they definitely still need to improve.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're looking at that Anthony Robinson. We were linked with him. He's a great signing. To be fair, he's a good player, but I think they've signed Knockaert, which I can't get my head around because he's the biggest yo-yo player I've ever. It's kind of like Knockaert, Premier League average goes down, Championship goes back up, Premier League Knockaert average goes down.
Knockaert is the definition of too good for the Championship, not good enough for a Premier League. For me.
Yeah, literally.
You've seen it with other managers like Neil Warnock. He's the same. Other players like Grant Holt, who used to be at Norwich, if you remember him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've got Fulham at 19th, and who have you got in 18th?
I've got Newcastle.
I've got Newcastle.
Yeah, I just think they were massively poor last season, and I don't know how they finished where they did. I think all the stats will back you up as well.
Yeah, I think Newcastle, they're a team that's not pushing on. I know we bought Saint-Maximin last year, but Joe Linton was rubbish. He scored 1 goal or 2 goals, something like that in the league. That's just not good for a £40 million player. I like Saint-Maximin, but the problem now is that he's the only player that Newcastle can rely on. He's like their Grealish, and he's a little bit flashy at times. Like, I don't know, he's good one game and then he goes to the next one. And
I mean, if you start in a Premier League game with Joe Linton up top,
you deserve to go down.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, they've not recruited anyone, I don't think, have they?
They signed Jeff Hendrick from Burnley.
Oh yeah. I mean,
but I think he's getting on as well.
If Sean Dyche don't want him, then
there's a British player that Sean Dyche don't want.
Yeah, I mean, but something must be wrong there. No, but there were talks of him going to like AC Milan and that. So,
what, Jeff Hendrick?
Yeah, I think pretty sure it's AC Milan. Yeah, it definitely was.
Jesus.
But on Newcastle though, again, I think Steve Bruce is a poor manager, to be honest.
I think he's in that category of too good for the Championship, not good enough for Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. He's a bit like negative football, and yeah, it's just a bit like if
you're not pushing on and you're not actively spending money trying to improve your squad and trying to improve, then you're waiting for relegation. In my opinion, I think Newcastle waiting to get relegated. To be honest,
I mean that's the thing when I compare Chris Wilder to Steve Bruce. We finished 9th. Newcastle finished 13th, 14th, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And Bruce is just going about his daily life like nothing's happened. Wilder, straight after the season, has said, like, we have to improve if we want to do well in the Premier League next season. And he said, our team's not good enough. We have to improve. And that's the thing that some managers aren't ruthless enough.
Yeah, that's it. Like, if you're content with finishing 13th to 14th and you're just thinking, oh, well, we're in the Premier League, we're not going to push on, then you will go down, whether it's next season. If you're just waiting around and not really improving, oh, we've sold him, we'll get someone that's just as good. It's like, what's the point? You're not improving. And all the teams around you, if they're more hungry, then they'll send you down.
Yeah.
Bottom 3, I've got West Brom, Fulham, Newcastle.
I've got Newcastle, Fulham, Villa, and I might be wrong with Villa, but I'm staying by that because I might look like a genius if they finish bottom.
I think Villa will be around there.
I mean, like I just feel like the signings are obvious signings that like a fan on Twitter would say, sign this person.
There's a reason they're obvious though. You don't have to always go to the Belgian league and find.
Yeah, but it's just like I know what you mean. Like obviously you've got a player that scored most goals in the Championship is going to get scouted by a lot of teams. But I just feel like,
including Sheffield United, I thought.
Yeah, we are. But I mean, it's just like we wouldn't mind going to get a player from League One or a player from wherever it is if they suit our system. Like we've signed Jack Robinson from Forest for 500k. He's been quality for us. Like he's a Jack O'Connell replacement when he's injured, and he's done a proper job. Like I just don't see Villa ever having the knowledge, the scouting knowledge to sign someone like that. Like they've always just got to splash cash and try and get. Well, literally, they've just signed Matty Cash for 16 mil. I mean, we wanted him. Maybe we didn't want to spend that much money, but if they have, then fair enough. He's a good player. But I just feel like even Wilder has said that he feels like there's a bit of lazy recruitment going on. I do think that they are waiting for other teams to make the moves and then just getting them off their rivals. So that that's just what I think.
Scouting for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, with in terms of relegation top 6, we've done that. We'll move on to the individual awards. Who's going to win the Golden Boot for you?
Harry Kane. Harry Kane is going to win the Golden Boot.
What about his fitness? He's got a glass ankle.
Right. The thing is with Harry Kane, he'll get injured and still score as many goals as he does. If he's fit, that is a problem for me. But he will be. I know. Like I feel like he's got the right mentality to want to like do everything he possibly can to stay fit, and he'll be in the gym, like rehabbing his ankles, making him stronger. You know, I feel like he'll be putting in all the hours to do everything he can. And when it comes to him playing on the pitch, there's no doubt about it.
Have you? I was gonna say, have you seen the Tottenham documentary on Amazon?
I've just started watching it. I'm on the first episode. I'm like halfway through it, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm just going to quote one little bit. It's not really a spoiler, but at one part he's having a meeting with Mourinho, and he says they're talking about like sort of the next level on from Tottenham, and Kane's saying, "I want to be at that Messi and Ronaldo level." Like he wasn't just saying, "Oh, I'm happy where I am." He did this. He goes, "I want to be up here. I want to be Messi or Ronaldo," and I love that from him. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I feel like he's that man that has the mentality in he, like definitely. That I feel like that's why he's England captain, and that's why I think he's England's best player. Like he's just such a good goal scorer as well. Like he'll score
type of goal.
Yeah, any type of goal he's there and he's banging them in. Like I feel like if Spurs do well, and I've put him to finish 5th, so if they do well, he'll be their top goal scorer, and He'll be in shout of the Golden Boot, definitely.
I think he's definitely, yeah. Well, I've not gone for Kane because of his injury
Yeah.
problems. Obviously, he's one of the favourites, but it's just down to his injuries. I've gone for Timo Werner.
Really?
In brackets, I've put Aubameyang because that's probably the more realistic one. But
To be fair, I rate that Werner. I feel like
I think
I've
he's
only
nice,
watched him
like,
in Champions League. Like, to be fair,
yeah.
I've not watched him
I
in
watched him.
league.
I watched him in the pre-season game that Chelsea played last week against Brighton, and he looked really sharp.
Yeah, he scored, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored 4 minutes into his first game.
Yeah, fair.
He looks really sharp. He looks hungry. I've seen him in the Champions League and a bit in the Bundesliga. He just looks like if he's 1-on-1 with the keeper or if he's anywhere inside the box, he's going to score.
Yeah.
I can see him easily getting at least 20 goals this season.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I can see that. Like you can't just say because of the league you were playing in either, because you were doing it in Champions League for fun.
Yeah, and on top of that, all the creative players that Chelsea have now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Ziyech, Pulisic, potentially Havertz, probably Havertz, Mount, like all these sorts of players. But I have put in brackets Aubameyang because I think he just needs a bit of respect, to be honest. I think he's a great striker. So
the only reason why he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves is because he plays for Arsenal.
yeah.
And they've been so up and down, but the amount of goals he scored, even when Arsenal were poor,
the
amount of goals he scored in that team is pretty unreal, to be fair. And he's single-handedly won. Well, he's that goal he scored for Arsenal in the final against Liverpool. That just sums him up, really. Yeah, he's another person who'll score all types of goals.
Yeah, it's like where would have Arsenal have been last year without Aubameyang's goals?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, in a bad way. Anyway, moving on. Who's going to get Player of the Season?
KDB.
Yeah, I went for KDB.
He's just the best player in Premier League.
To be fair, I put Kevin De Bruyne, and then in brackets I put Messi in case.
Yeah, Fairs, yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. So
I don't think it will.
That's partly why I put City in second as well to Liverpool. But I feel like De Bruyne is just a different class to any other midfielder or player really in the Premier League. Like the last game of the season against Norwich, was it when they won 5-0?
Yeah.
Them 2 goals that he scored. He makes it look so simple. He just flicks it to one foot over his quick step over. All of a sudden, all he's done is just move the ball twice, and he's got so much space from the defender just backing off and trying not to be beaten, and he's just put it in the top corner. Like, he's unreal.
He's unbelievable. So yeah, pretty straightforward that one. We've gone for Young Player of the Season. Who have you gone for?
Yeah, I've gone for Havertz. I know he's not signed yet.
Okay, yeah.
But I think that he'll get it because I think he'll hit the ground running. And I think he'll score a few and definitely get a few assists. And in a good Chelsea team with the creative players around him, and I can just imagine it. Yeah, I can imagine it.
Yeah, it's a good shout. I've gone for. I make myself sound so indecisive because I put 2 players for every option, but I put 2 on. I put 2.
Everyone brackets.
I put 2 on this one. I haven't put brackets on this one. I've just put a slash. So this one's.
If you put Billy Sharp.
What, Young Player of the Season? Maybe 20 years ago, maybe. Phil Foden.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just going to come straight in and take over where David Silva left off.
Yeah, I was just about to mention David Silva. Do you think they'll miss him, City?
No, because we've got Phil Foden. I think he's that good.
What, you think he'll completely just...
I think he'll just walk into the team and just take over. Or Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting Greenwood. To be fair, like he's been good, but then again, I feel like when the Sancho deal's up in the air, if they sign Sancho,
he won't get as much game time, but he's still going to play.
Yeah, true.
A couple of other players, but neither of us are mentioned, but I think deserve a mention. Maybe Pulisic, Saka at Arsenal, or Alexander Arnold because he won it this year.
He won it. I did think about Alexander Arnold, to be fair, and I think that would have been an easy thing to put. So I thought I'll put my neck out a bit.
I think the fact that I know he's still eligible for the young player. I think you are until you're like 24.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous actually.
Yeah, I think it should be like 21, 22 or under.
Yeah.
But what's it? I think the fact that Alexander Arnold's been around for like 3-4 years now, I think that'll go against him in voting for young player. I think it's like if this is your breakthrough season, I think that's what I'd like to see anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely that's a good point actually. I feel like Pulisic's a good shout,
Yeah, because
but
he's still young enough.
yeah, but he might get overshadowed by someone like Havertz or.
Yeah, he might do, but as long as
It tends to
he
be someone that there's quite a lot of hype around in terms of
yeah.
like what they could become as well, rather than just what they've done that season. Do you know what I mean?
Well, those at times last season, Pulisic was getting compared to Hazard, and
Yeah.
from a Chelsea standpoint, it doesn't get any more hype than that.
True, yeah.
That's one of their best ever players. But so, last question then. It's a bit of a negative one. This one, I don't know whether to include it or not because it's a bit like, but we'll stick it in. Who do you think will be the first manager to get sacked?
Oh, I am. I'm gonna say Steve Bruce. But the thing is, I would have said that last season as well.
Okay,
but he
right.
didn't get sacked at all.
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
I've just realised Steve
what?
Bruce was at Wednesday, and then he's now done the double over Sheffield United last season.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking
makes it even worse. Yeah, all of everyone that I'm picking to do rubbish is just slightly subconsciously. I just don't like. No, to be fair, like obviously I've not thought about it much, but just quickly off the top of my mind, I think probably Bruce, but I could be persuaded to do something else.
Well, I've a couple names I've put down because once again I've put two people and not one. I've gone for Slaven Bilic at West Brom mainly because I think they're going to finish bottom and I think they'll panic and swap him out. I didn't say Bruce because I think Mike Ashley will just settle for relegation. I think he's that kind of owner. And the other one was David Moyes because I think West Ham will struggle again. And
he always gets sacked though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he'll be back in 2 years.
He loves it. He'll be on a beach with a cocktail in hand. He's there getting paid. That's all he does.
That's what some managers think. They think if I get a 3-year deal, I'll do.
Yeah, you're laughing.
Get sacked after one and get paid.
You're laughing, aren't you? Yeah. Well, to be fair, I could say Dean Smith as well, but I don't want to go too hard on Villa.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm there between. I'm gonna say Bruce, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dean Smith.
Okay, all right. It's just hates Villa, but
no, I don't. Well,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I do.
All right, I think we'll end it there. It's been quite a long one. This. So thanks for joining me anyway, James.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no worries.
It's been good.
Yeah, we'll come back to this in about 9 months' time.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah,
and see how wrong we go far.
Yeah, I'm sorry to any Villa fans as well.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
No. Right, and thanks everyone for watching. If you did enjoy it, then leave a like, share it around, subscribe to the channel as well. I'm doing more of these. So yeah, thank you. See you later.